Hello, friends. It's Katie back with another episode of my vlog. And today I want to talk about the importance of rest, which I'm sure sounds like a pretty boring topic to most people. It's a pretty boring topic to me also, but it's super, super, super important. The reason why this is on my mind right now is, as you guys know, I took up running as a hobby. And a form of exercise, obviously, last year, and I'm super into it, and I love running almost more than anything in my life right now. And unfortunately, because I have chosen like the highest impact sport that there is, and I'm no spring chicken, I've developed a host of knee and foot and leg problems due to my running. So I now find myself with a pretty bad case of plantar fasciitis, which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically the fascia, which is a muscle that runs along the bottom of your foot, is getting all torn up every day when I walk around or run around or do anything standing up. And then when I go to sleep at night, it heals up a little bit. And then when I wake up in the morning and my feet first hit the ground, it is so painful because I'm just like ripping the fascia open, which is a disgusting visual, but wanted to tell you guys what it is. So as a result, when I walk around with no cushioning under my feet, I feel kind of like I'm walking around on knives. I actually was joking and told Sean the other day, it's kind of like that part in the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, The Little Mermaid, where she trades her tail for legs and she loses her voice to the sea witch, but she also gets this, like curse where every step she takes with her new feet, she's going to be, it's like walking on knives. And I said to Sean, oh, the Little Mermaid has plantar fasciitis. I feel like I can relate to her. So it sucks. And I went to my doctor and I got some physical therapy exercises and some advice about different things to do. And I'm doing them and it is getting better, but it's very, very slow. And so this week I decided to take the pretty drastic step of skipping my runs for an entire week, which is not making me happy. I love to run, like I said at the top, and I would rather be doing my runs than almost anything else. But at a certain point, you got to stop and listen to your body and go, I could continue running. It doesn't actually hurt when I'm running because my running shoes are nice and cushioned. But then I'm like limping around for the rest of the day and wincing in pain if I try to walk without shoes on. So that's obviously not great. And so, taking a cue from Adrian, my yoga instructor, I am listening to my body and taking a rest break. It's really, really hard for me to do. I have a hard time slowing down and resting in any sense of the word just because I'm such a busy person. I'm such a driven person. I have so many things to do. I actually have a really hard time resting. And so this vlog is kind of actually me talking to myself about the importance of rest, but I figure if anyone watching this is like me and has a hard time resting or giving themselves permission to rest, maybe you need to hear this also. So a little bit for me, a little bit for you guys, and rest. It's really important. So obviously we can't just go, 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 go all the time. If you try to do that, you're going to pay the price. If you try to run too much, you're going to get plantar fasciitis or shin splints or Achilles tendonitis or, any one of these runner's ailments that folks get. And in order to get better from that, you have to do your stretching exercises, but you also just have to give it time and you got to give it a rest. There's so many places in our lives where it's like we just keep pushing because there's so much to do. Everybody I know has an endless to-do list. Everybody I know has, maybe taken on more on their plate than they can deal with in a lot of senses. I know over the last year, a lot of people's lives have slowed down because of the COVID lockdowns, but in a lot of other senses, they haven't. It's like maybe you suddenly found yourself unemployed or working from home and not having to put in as much work on that side of things, but then you also have your kids at home for school or whatever. And so that's creating another level of busyness in your life, right? For me, obviously, I have the stroke dimension in addition to the COVID thing. So there's just an endless amount of stuff for me to do. And my to-do list can just grow and grow and grow. And I can feel compelled to just keep going and keep trying to get more and more things done to get them crossed off that list. But at a certain point, you have to stop and you have to rest. And just like with the physical body, with the exercise and running and having to take a rest so that you can recover from the damage that you're doing to your body, you also need to take a rest on work. You also need to take a rest on your family. You also need to take a rest on anything that you're doing over and over and over again, because you can't just go endlessly. So, and again, I find it very hard to take a rest. I find it very hard to take time off. I don't have the capacity to take a vacation. But what I do is I build little rests and little breaks into my day, since I can't take a big giant rest of like a week off. The other thing is I have been taking a rest day on the weekends. I've really committed to making Saturday be the day that I don't have to tick the boxes on my checklist. I can just do whatever I want on Saturday. Again, within reason. I've got a family to take care of. They need some stuff. But they also know that Saturday is my rest day. And so they try not to bug me or ask me for stuff on Saturdays. And I can kind of use that day how I want, whether that's lying down for an extended period of time or, working on something, but quietly, right? Like a project in the studio that's not like too physically active or too mentally tasking. I really just try to keep it, again, the rest day. So, there's physical rest, which is super duper important, obviously. And especially if any of you are athletes, you're going to understand just inherently how important that rest day is in your training schedule. But then there's also mental rest. Like I said, if you're working hard on a project, you need to take those breaks. Even if you're in the zone and in the flow and you're like, I don't want to take a break, it's important to take a break and you should do it. Even if you have to make yourself take a break. This is me talking to myself again. Katie, make yourself take a break more often. I think another important one for taking breaks for the mind is putting the internet away, putting social media away. I think a lot of people these days, they think, okay, I'm going to take a break. And then they immediately pull out their phone and just start scrolling Twitter or Facebook or Reddit or, whichever social media platform you choose. And I do realize the irony of me saying, turn off your social media from a social media platform like YouTube. But it's really true. I feel like people have lost the ability to just be bored or be blank or just not be entertained by anything. When was the last time you just sat there for 15 minutes, 30 minutes without a bunch of inputs from the internet? Maybe it's been a while for you. I don't know who you are, but maybe it's been a while for you. I know some people who can't put their phones down. And they literally, if they're not working or focusing on some type of task from their task list right in that moment, the second they sit down to take a rest, they immediately pull out their phone and start looking at social media. And, that's actually not restful at all. You're allowing this kind of barrage of information to just come into your eyes and ears and affect your mentality and affect the way that you feel. And it's not great to just do it constantly. Excuse me. The other really cool thing about doing nothing with your mind for a while is if you are even remotely creative, you will immediately start entertaining yourself with your own mind. And boredom is super, super important because that's where new ideas can come from, right? If you're so busy all the time working on things, so busy all the time thinking about things, reading social media posts, you're not giving your brain the chance to drum up its own stuff, right? So it's really important to take that kind of break as well. And then, since I talked about taking the break of the body and a break for the mind, there's also the break for your emotional well-being. And that one's really important also, and sometimes can be the hardest one to do. But that's the one where you kind of have to listen to yourself. And if you find yourself in a situation where you're feeling overwhelmed, really emotionally taxed by what's going on, and, maybe you've been, telling yourself over and over again, well, just keep powering through and it's okay. Even though I'm feeling crappy right now, I'll just keep you know, doing the thing I'm doing so that I can just get to the end of it and be done and check it off my list. That's not always the best decision to make. And sometimes a better decision is to say, you know what? I need to take a break. I need to take a rest. I need to walk away from this situation that's getting me all riled up. Or, maybe you're dealing with a person who, it might be a toxic person who you're never going to break through to, in which case take a real break from that person. Maybe you're dealing with a person who's not a toxic person, but just for whatever reason, maybe they're having a bad day, or, you guys are just having a personality clash right then or whatever. Can you say to the other person, hey, you know what? I feel like this isn't working right now. I need to go cool down, not have an argument with you. Let's come back to this later, right? I feel like for me in particular, but for a lot of people in general, there's always this feeling of, no, I have to do it now. I'm already doing it. I got to just get it done. But there's so much power in saying, you know what? No, time out. I'm going to stop. I'm going to take a rest because this isn't working for me. I'm listening to my body, whether that's the physical body or the mental body or the emotional body, to borrow another term from Adrian. It's so important to listen to what your self is telling you that you need and to act on it. Again, if you can. If you're in some type of situation where you really just can't take a break, there's a massive crazy deadline and there's no way you can get an extension and you absolutely have to get this thing done, then maybe you have to push yourself. But then when you get to the end of that massive exertion and that big, you really overextended yourself, take a big break, take a big rest. We were actually just watching a video earlier about the special effects on John Carpenter's The Thing. And at one point in the video, the narrator said that the guy who was in charge of the special effects, I'm blanking out on his name right now, by the time they finished the movie, he had been working 7 days a week for 57 weeks to get this movie done, which is unbelievable and totally unhealthy. And apparently John Carpenter checked him into a hospital after the movie was wrapped, completed shooting, so that the guy could actually get some rest and recover from this incredibly stressful workload that he had been under. So, depending on what your life is like, maybe you have to push through and do that crazy, all-nighter or the crazy week of work or year of work without actually taking a break. But when you do get a chance to take a break, when you get to the end of that, take a big break, a real one that really allows you to rest, to recuperate, to rejuvenate, to come back to who you are. And, again, if you're like me and you have kind of the opposite problem, which is a constant attack of busyness of small items, and no real ability to take a big rest like that, then you have to become the master of the micro rest. Maybe you're good at napping and you can do the 20-minute cat nap in the day. I'm not a good napper. I always find myself more cranky than refreshed. So napping is not the thing for me. But what I do is I take a break. I go sit down so I'm not on my feet. And I don't work on anything for, 10 minutes at a time, 15 minutes at a time. It's not a huge thing, but I just say, okay, you know what? This is my little bubble. I even set a little timer on my phone and just say, okay, set the timer, set it aside. And now I'm just going to zone out. I'm just going to think about whatever I want to. I'm just going to rest. As a stereotype, as a mom, I like to take baths. Sean is very sweet and buys me these wonderful bath bombs from Lush. And I love to take a bath, I'd love to every day if I had time, but, maybe every other day I, soak in the tub for an hour and I, take my phone and sometimes I scroll social media and look at it for a little bit. But for the most part, I just put it aside. Maybe I'll play some music and then set it aside so it's just playing nicely in the background. And I just try to relax. And I just have my little kind of micro vacation when I can. I think a lot of parents will, especially parents of small children, will relate to the tiniest micro vacation that you can get, with little kids, where it's like you get like 1 minute or maybe even 30 seconds of a break. But if you can get yourself in the right headspace and go, okay, I'm really going to just enjoy the hell out of my 30-second break here. I think you gain from it. I think that there's growth to be had. It makes you a better person. It makes you a more patient parent. It's just positive all around. So, in conclusion, I want to encourage you guys to rest, especially, again, if you're the type of person like me who's just go, 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 and doesn't feel like you have a lot of time to rest. Make time to rest. It's really valuable. It's really restorative. It's really important. It's never a waste of your time. Now, if you're the opposite type of person to me, if you have no problem taking a rest and you actually need someone to light a fire under your ass to like get you to do things, don't listen to what I said in this video. Maybe you can become more active, more productive, more go-gettery. But if you do turn that corner, make sure you still remember how to rest, because we all need rest. Absolutely need it. You need to sleep well every night, and you need to take rests throughout your day. And if you can, you need to take bigger rests, like entire days off, or hopefully longer vacations. I'm going to end this with a quote that I actually saw on Twitter just 2 days ago. Oh, there I am on social media again. Oh, it's such a conflict here. But it really hit home because I'm needing to take these rests. Someone said, go ahead and pick a day to rest, because if you don't pick a day to rest, your body's going to pick it for you. So, wishing you all some restful days ahead. I will be back in a few more days with another episode of my vlog. Until then, stay safe, take care, and thanks so much for watching.